Psych, I'm not shooting a gas station.
Released in 1954, Balda's Super Baldina is a 35mm film camera with shutter speeds of 1 second to 1/300th of a second. Its mostly metal body weighs 595 grams, has a retractable leaf shutter lens, and a self-timer winder. On top of the Super Baldina is a film rewind knob surrounded by an ISO select dial. The lens is a 50mm f3.5 and can be locked pushed in while not in use. Located directly on the lens are the self-timer winder and the shutter speed dial. There's a small viewfinder, a cold shoe mount on top, a film advance lever, frame counter dial, and of course the shutter button. The aperture can be selected on the outside ring around the lens. When the lens lock is engaged, the lens release button can be pressed. Locked, unlocked, released. To use the self-timer, advance the film to the next frame, wind the self-timer dial, and press the shutter button. To change the f-stop, slide the aperture ring to the desired setting. There's a backdoor release on the side of the camera. Here's a look inside the Super Baldina. There's a rewind release button on the underside, as well as a tripod socket. To load film into the Super Baldina, raise the film rewind knob, place a canister of film in the chamber on the left side of the open camera, pull the film leader across to the right, and insert the end into one of the slots in the take-up spool. Make sure the silver take-up teeth grab the film by its perforations. Close the back door, lower the film rewind knob. Set the film counter dial manually to 0, then advance to the first frame and you're ready to shoot.
Hey, it's Dan. I'm back to test another camera. Today I have a Balda Super Balda. It's a 35mm camera, no electronics. It comes from Germany. There's a little rewind button on the bottom. There's a shot count meter on top right near the film advance meter. Simple shutter button on top, and you can select, see where at the bottom of the camera, the way I'm holding it, you can select your ASA. And so this camera actually has a little lens that pops out like that when you press this button here, and you can select your focus here on the lens. There's f-stop from 3.5 to 16 right here. We can move that little slider, and there's a self-timer, this little red thing on the bottom. So let's give it a spin, take some photos around the Jean Talon Little Italy area of Montreal, and see what this camera can do. This is a very quiet leaf shutter lens. It's a 50mm f3.5, and I'm shooting at 5.6 in the open sun. The film winder on this Balda is a little bit stiff. Check this out. Like, it's okay, but it's not as easy as a bunch of other cameras. For holding in the hand, it feels alright. I can grip it no problem one hand. It's a little cold since it's all metal, but I love a metal design. I love something more solid than plastic. The viewfinder is a bit old and blurry. It's kind of, it's hard to see the whole thing. Once your eye is right up to it, you can kind of have to move your eye around to see the outer edges. At first, when shooting this camera, I thought I would have to cock the shutter on the lens, as with many other leaf shutter lenses I've used, but all I have to do is wind the film advance lever, and the shutter is cocked. The market looks a little bit empty from the outside, but we're gonna go inside. Inside the Jean-Talon market, I probably should have put my camera in a bag to not have condensation build up on it. It's so colorful. Look at the ribbons on the ceiling, the fruits all lit up, sunshine coming through in beams. It's a beautiful place. Of course, in here I've stopped open to 3.5, and I'm using a shutter speed of 100 of a second. I mentioned a little earlier that the film advance lever is a little bit tight, and at frame 25 on this roll of Kodak Pro image, I feel I may have just pulled against the tension to the point where the advance pins that pull the film forward by its perforations may have come out of those sprocket holes. Would I recommend the Balda Super Baldina? It's one of those cameras that takes a minute to get used to. I'm somebody who's used to a Nikon SLR with my controls on the top, like many SLRs, so I'm constantly forgetting to change the setting as all the settings are on the lens itself. The fact that you can push the lens in and put it in your pocket, that's an opportunity for me to pull it out, frame up a photo, and forget that I need to press the lens pop-out button before I can take a photo, so I've missed a shot or two. It's definitely a camera that takes getting used to. The viewfinder's not my favorite. I keep forgetting to put the proper focus, but it's a very clean camera, nice design. There aren't too many features to worry about, nothing extra. It looks slick. It's good for a collector, being that it's a camera made in Germany. It works well. I say it's a maybe. If you're a collector, go for it. If you're looking for a camera to learn on, maybe you would want something a little more standard with the controls on top. But it's fun to use, and it's a good practice for anybody who wants to shoot manual. Go for it.